What's going on, guys? Tyler here. In this video we're going to cover the contract life cycle. Okay, I had someone contact me in Instagram and basically they were asking what their next step was. Is it bad that they did not take their contract to the title company, and can they still assign that contract? So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover kind of how that works and what the process is when, basically from the point when you print this contract, not this one specifically, but a contract out of your printer and you take it and you get it signed by the seller. We're going to cover what type of contracts there are. We're only going to be talking traditional wholesaling in this type of environment. My contracts is one contract for everything. It's 4 pages and it's all in one, so I don't have to worry about making one contract differently for the other. The only time I have to worry about different contract is I have other contracts for like payment plans, anything that's going to be like a rent-to-own type deal. But I use this for subject twos and all that other stuff. So, contract life cycle. First and foremost, we have, let's see, am I still in? I'm in and out. We have your contract. Okay, and you go out and you find a property. All right, so this contract here, we're gonna call the purchase and sales agreement. Purchase and sales, that is this one right here, okay? The purchase and sales agreement is the agreement between you and a seller, okay, of the property that you are purchasing that said property. It mentions the address on it, you can put the parcel ID on it. A good thing to do, another really good tip, is to take your contract and show it to, first of all, your attorney, and second of all, make sure you show it to your title company, and make sure your title company says, yeah, we can work with that type of contract, or they might give you some tips on what to edit in your contract, like adding the parcel ID and things like that, so that it's easier for them. And you want to make it as easy for them as possible, because they're the ones that make sure that everything is going smoothly with the actual closing timeline, as well as you are too. And we'll get to that in a second. So, purchase and sales agreement. Now, this gets signed between you and the seller, okay? So both of you sign the purchase and sales agreement, agreeing on the price that is therefore inside of the purchase and sales agreement. Okay, so if I'm gonna sign this, or I'm gonna get this under contract, and our price is $50,000, okay, we agreed on 50 grand. Now, what I'm gonna do, now that I have this under contract, is I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna hand it over to title company. I have terrible handwriting, but all well. All right, I'm gonna hand this over to the title company, and that title company, they're gonna start doing the title. Okay, they're gonna start working things. They're gonna send that title over to the to whoever they usually title companies use another service in order to pull title. But basically, what's gonna happen is this title, this purchase, they're gonna put it on there. Okay, and they're gonna put it in their system, and they're gonna say, okay, we gotta work this contract, and they're gonna base your closing date off of whatever date is on your contract. And they know that they have to try and take this title and make sure it's clear, make sure there's nothing, debt against it, and all those things, okay, so that they can build what's called a HUD, okay? They're gonna build a HUD, okay, and that HUD is gonna outline what is going on. How much does this property have left on its mortgage? How much, are you getting? How much? It's going to outline all that stuff. We'll do a different course just on HUDs, but they're going to draft a HUD, and they require the contract in order to start pulling the data and prepping for the sale of a property between you and the seller. Now, you want to tell the title company that you are going to be assigning this contract. That's very important, because they draft all the documents to submit in order to do the title work. And once that title work shows you on it, okay, you've officially became the owner, and you don't want that. It's going to delay the process. You're going to end up assigning it over. You're going to hand it to your title company, and they're going to be like, what the heck? Now we got to redo all this paperwork. So make sure you tell them that you are not the end buyer. Now, we have another contract, okay? And this is called the assignment contract. What this is this is the contract that marries these two together. What it does is it takes your signature right here, let's just say your signature is right here, and it says, forget this signature and remember the buyer's signature. So your signature goes on this and the buyer goes here, okay? And this assignment contract states that you, as the current purchaser of the purchase and sales agreement on this property, you're the current purchaser, you are assigning your purchase rights for this property over to this buyer. And in order for you to do that, there's this little thing in here that says that you're doing it for this dollar value. So you're gonna do it for, let's just say $10,000. So what you've done is you've put it under contract with the seller, with the purchase and sales agreement. In some states, you can just go ahead and use the state agreement that like realtors use. In the state of Florida, we can do that. I could use that one if I wanted to. But you're gonna have to have the verbiage in there. The verbiage has to be in there stating to the seller that you plan and you have the opportunity to assign that contract. If you don't, and you trying to sign that contract, you are effed. So don't do that. Make sure you have a good contract. At some point, my contracts and everything I use will be available for people that are part of the community, and the option will be there for the contracts. So purchase and sales agreement, assignment contract, seller, you, buyer. It's pretty straightforward. Once you get this assignment contract signed, what you want to do is your buyer is going to have what's called an EMD. So he's going to have earnest money. So this contract is going to say something along the lines of, if we're using the figures of $50,000 and $10,000, it's going to say something along the lines of, they are, like this $50,000 is not going to be on this contract. It won't be on there. All that will be on there is stating that they are going to purchase this contract, and when you assign this over to him, you're going to give him this contract, the buyer, and on here it's going to say something like the buyer will be this contract is to pass over assignment rights or this buying rights of this contract with this property, and he's going to give me $5,000 down, earnest money, and at closing, I am owed another $5,000 because you're getting 10 total. And then it should say, it'll say like, I am assigning this contract for $10,000, $5,000 due for the assignment of the contract, and another $5,000 due at closing. It'll sound something like that. And I could read it off of mine, but I don't have one printed right now. I had to like find this one in a stack of papers because I do DocuSign primarily. So, so purchase and sales agreement, you, buyer, you're gonna have the assignment of that contract on there. You're gonna have the price of the property on there, and all this gets put on the HUD. What'll end up happening is in the end, once the title company knows that there's an end buyer, they're gonna, on the HUD, it's gonna list all the different things, all the different charges associated with the property, and then you're gonna be on there for $10K. It's gonna show you on the buyer's side. And on the seller's side, it'll show their side, because the HUD is split up like this. It's a piece of paper, it's split in half, and you got buyer on this side, seller on this side, a bunch of information here, and then how much this guy's gonna get from the closing and how much this guy's gonna get from the closing, and so on. It's too deep for this, but the main reason I wanted to cover the contract life cycle is I wanted you to just basically understand, listen, you have a contract, you get it signed by a seller, take this thing to the title company, okay, and after that goes to the title company, and notify them this will be assigned. Make sure you have a title company that you like to work with, they know what you're doing, they understand you and your business model. Make sure your contract was looked over by an attorney, and then after it's that, then you can market that property. Go ahead and market that property. As soon as this is signed, you can start marketing the property. But you want to get it to the title company as soon as you can, because it can take up to 2 weeks to get a title done. So what if you get a buyer and he wants to close in 3 days? You're effed. Because you waited until you found a buyer to give the contract to the title company, and now you're gonna have to tell them, no, sorry, we haven't even started title yet. It's a good, a lot of buyers sometimes will ask if you guys ran title yet. you know, and at least you can tell them, yeah, it's being worked right now. Okay, so there's some power and there's some reasoning behind it, and there's a lot more into, you know, handling the contract at the title company. Like you want that your contract, you want your buyer to basically, they don't get that assignment contract. Like, you shouldn't sign this assignment contract until EMD is received, unless you know the buyer. Okay, so this contract, this assignment contract, you know, what you should say is, here buyer, here's my assignment contract, it's pre-filled out, all you have to do is sign it and deliver it to the title company with your money down, and I will sign it after the fact. I'm not signing a contract, I'm not signing this assignment contract over to you until EMD is received at the title company. There's a reason for that, because as soon as you both sign this, he now has power over this contract, period. He hadn't give his EMD yet, but he now has rights over this. It doesn't state in the contract when he gets it, unless you put in there, you can put a blurb in there that says that this is not a valid contract unless EMD is at the title company. You could add something in there, just consult your attorney. But you want to be careful with that. And you don't want to, so it gets a little difficult. You don't want to market out to your contract to a bunch of buyers and say, hey, the first person to get EMD to title company gets the contract, but then 5 people, you know, get EMD over there. Now the title company is like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Who do I give it to? And so on. You step on your own toes, they step on each other's, and it becomes really confusing. I've had it happen before, especially with Hurricane Michael and all those properties down there. So that's pretty much everything. I think that covers everything I want to cover. If you have any other questions, comment below. I hope this was valid, useful information for you. Don't forget to go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Tyler Austin Original. This was awesome. Hit the subscribe button or the thumbs up, preferably both at the same time, if that's possible. If you have 2 mice and you can click both at the same time, that'd be really epic. I'd like you to record that if you do have that capability. That way I can like use that as like an intro or something. It'd be kind of cool. But that's not possible. So we can maybe do like editing. We could totally do that. We can do some Photoshop work. Anyway, that's it. I'm just rambling. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you, like I said, if you watch this all the way through, you're stellar, you're awesome, and you want the education. So hit the subscribe button. There's more education coming. So don't hold out on yourself, and definitely don't hold out on me, because I'm trying, okay? Thanks so much.